Imagine waking up with a face the entire world no longer recognizes. We've all seen the red carpet icons, but what happens when the quest for eternal youth turns into a permanent nightmare? Today, we're stripping away the filters to reveal the high-stakes world of celebrity cosmetic procedures gone wrong. You'll see the shocking transformations of stars who spent millions only to lose their natural beauty and their careers in a single surgery. From cat-face disasters to frozen expressions that defy logic, we're counting down the most unrecognizable faces in Hollywood, including one legendary star whose final reveal will leave you speechless. Linda Evangelista. In the vibrant 1990s, Linda Evangelista wasn't just a supermodel, she was the definitive face of the industry. With over 700 magazine covers to her name, Linda was the ultimate chameleon, a woman whose elegance and confidence defined high fashion for a generation of Americans. Many still remember her famous candid quip, "I don't get out of bed for less than $10,000 a day." But beneath that untouchable image lay a private struggle that would eventually change her life forever. In 2015, seeking to maintain her signature look, Linda underwent cool sculpting, a trendy, non-invasive, fat-freezing procedure marketed as a safe alternative to surgery. Tragically, she fell into the rare 1% of patients who develop paradoxical adipose hyperplasia (PAH. Instead of shrinking the fat cells in her chin, thighs, and chest hardened and expanded, leaving her body permanently altered. For years, the woman who once commanded the world's runways lived as a recluse, hiding in the shadows of her New York home. She underwent 2 painful liposuction surgeries to correct the damage, but the effects were irreversible. The emotional toll was devastating. She felt brutally disfigured and lost her sense of self. However, in a powerful act of courage, Linda has recently stepped back into the light. At an age where many face the pressures of fading youth, she has chosen honesty over hiding. By sharing her trauma, she has become a vital advocate against the hidden risks of cosmetic procedures. Today, Linda Evangelista no longer represents unattainable perfection. She stands as a beacon of resilience, survival, and the enduring beauty of the human spirit. Kenny Rogers. For over 60 years, Kenny Rogers was more than just a singer. He was a pillar of the American spirit. With his gravelly baritone and soulful eyes, he became the ultimate storyteller, narrating our lives through classics like The Gambler and Lucille. He represented the quintessential American man, rugged, wise, and deeply authentic. However, during the 1990s, The Gambler faced a pressure he couldn't outbluff: the relentless march of time. In an industry that treats aging as a flaw, Rogers felt the sting of high-definition cameras and harsh stage lights. Seeking to preserve the image his fans loved, he made a decision he would eventually come to regret. He turned to plastic surgery. What started as a simple facelift and eyelid surgery, blepharoplasty to freshen up, ended with results that were far from natural. Instead of a youthful glow, the procedures left his features tight and his famous gaze looking perpetually startled. The rugged masculinity that had been his trademark was replaced by an appearance even he struggled to recognize. Public reaction was swift and often unkind, but the harshest critic was Kenny himself. He later candidly admitted, "I wish I hadn't done it. I think it's just a reminder that you can't win the battle with time." Despite the physical changes, Kenny's true legacy remained untouched: his voice. He continued to grace the stage until his passing in 2020 at the age of 81, proving that while his face had changed, his heart and talent were eternal. Today, we remember him not for the scars of surgery, but for the wisdom of his songs, a reminder that life is about knowing when to hold 'em and when to accept the beauty of the journey, wrinkles and all. Lisa Rinna. Long before she became a household name on Days of Our Lives and The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Lisa Rinna was just a young woman with a dream of Hollywood stardom. In 1986, at the age of 24, she made a choice that would define her public image for decades. She opted for permanent silicone injections in her upper lip. At the time, she envisioned it as a signature touch of glamour, a way to stand out in an industry obsessed with the perfect look. For years, that pouty smile was her calling card. It brought her fame, confidence, and a spot on every red carpet. However, as the decades rolled by, the permanent silicone turned into a silent enemy. The material began to harden, creating painful scar tissue and unsightly lumps that distorted her famous smile. What was meant to be a beauty enhancement had become a daily physical and emotional burden. In 2010, after living with the complications for nearly 25 years, Lisa underwent a difficult surgical procedure to remove the hardened silicone. While the surgery provided relief, it couldn't fully erase the years of trauma. Despite this, the pressures of Tinseltown led her to continue experimenting with Botox and various fillers. Eventually, her face began to lose the natural expressive warmth that fans first fell in love with, replaced by a stiffness that sparked relentless tabloid scrutiny. By 2024, Lisa reached a turning point. Confronting the pillow face rumors head-on, she candidly admitted to dissolving several of her fillers, choosing to reclaim her true reflection. Today, she stands as a cautionary yet courageous figure. Her story is a powerful reminder that in the search for perfection, we can often lose ourselves, and that true beauty is found not in the needle but in the strength to be authentic. Joan Van Ark. During the 1970s and 80s, Joan Van Ark was a staple of American living rooms. As the vulnerable yet resilient Valene Ewing on the hit series Knots Landing, she captured the nation's heart with her wide, expressive eyes and radiant blonde beauty. For over a decade, she was the quintessential California girl, the kind of classic Hollywood star whose warmth felt genuinely accessible. However, as the sun began to set on the golden era of soaps, Joan faced the daunting challenge of aging in a town that rarely forgives it. What began in the early 1990s as a subtle rhinoplasty soon evolved into a decades-long fixation. In an attempt to preserve her Valene glow, Joan turned to a relentless cycle of facelifts, brow lifts, and heavy chemical peels. Each procedure was intended to freeze time, but instead they slowly began to mask the very features that made her iconic. By the early 2000s, the tragic results became impossible to ignore. The delicate, soulful expressions that once defined her acting were replaced by a frozen look. The harsh glare of high-definition cameras and the unforgiving gaze of the tabloids turned her into a frequent subject of "surgery gone wrong" headlines. Fans who had cheered for her character's triumphs now looked on with a mixture of shock and sadness. In 2020, during the Knots Landing 40th anniversary celebrations, the stark transformation was once again in the spotlight. While her spirit and love for her craft remained evident, her face had become a fragile monument to the pressures of Hollywood perfectionism. Today, Joan maintains a more private life, appearing occasionally at charity events. Her journey serves as a poignant, haunting chapter in television history, a reminder that while we can try to hold 'em like the gambler, the most enduring beauty often comes from the wisdom and character found in a life lived naturally. LaToya Jackson. Born into the most famous musical dynasty in history, LaToya Jackson spent her life under a microscope. Growing up as a member of the first family of soul, she was constantly compared to her brothers, especially her legendary brother Michael. In the 1980s, LaToya worked tirelessly to carve out her own identity as a singer and model. With her album My Special Love, she offered a warmer, more accessible alternative to the Jackson mythos, appearing as a genuine talent in her own right. However, the immense pressure of the Jackson name brought with it deep-seated insecurities. Living in an environment where perfection was the only standard, LaToya began a journey that mirrored Michael's own tragic transformation. In the late 1980s, She underwent her first rhinoplasty to refine her features. This was only the beginning. Throughout the 1990s, a series of procedures followed: multiple nose jobs, cheek implants, chin enhancements, and facelifts. As the years passed, the natural beauty that had graced her early album covers began to vanish. Her features became increasingly sharp and narrow, her skin taut, and her expressions seemingly frozen in a state of perpetual surprise. The American tabloids were relentless, often cruel, referring to her as a porcelain doll. The world watched in fascination and sadness as the two siblings, LaToya and Michael, seemed to be chasing a version of themselves that did not exist in nature. Today, in her late 60s, LaToya has found a sense of peace away from the frantic pace of the spotlight. While she remains a fixture at events honoring her family's monumental legacy, her appearance remains a stark reminder of the cost of fame. Her story is perhaps the most poignant reflection of the Jackson family paradox. They gave the world everything, yet often struggled to find the one thing they truly needed: the grace to accept themselves exactly as they were. Goldie Hawn. For over 5 decades, Goldie Hawn has been the ultimate it girl of American cinema. With her signature infectious giggle, those wide, sparkling blue eyes, and an effortless charm, she became the heart of the 1970s and 80s. From Laugh-In to Private Benjamin, Goldie didn't just act. She radiated a genuine, spontaneous warmth that felt like a ray of sunshine in every American household. But Hollywood is a town that often fears the very thing that makes a person human: aging. Even for a star as bright as Goldie, the pressure to remain the eternal pixie became a heavy burden. In the early 2000s, she began to explore cosmetic procedures to maintain her youthful glow. What started as subtle touch-ups, fillers, and minor lifts gradually began to alter the very expressions that fans fell in love with. The shift became a major talking point during the 2014 Academy Awards. When Goldie stepped onto the red carpet, the cameras captured a look that felt uncharacteristically tight. The once fluid, expressive face that could convey 1,000 emotions with a single crinkle of the eyes now appeared somewhat frozen. When she made her big-screen comeback in the 2017 comedy Snatched, many noted that her legendary spontaneity seemed masked by the physical constraints of excessive fillers and Botox. However, unlike many Hollywood tragedies, Goldie's story remains one of joy. Today, she focuses her energy on her longtime partner Kurt Russell and their famous family, including daughter Kate Hudson. Perhaps her greatest legacy now isn't her face, but her Mind Up Foundation, which focuses on children's mental health. While her reflection in the mirror has changed the Goldie spirit, that irrepressible laughter and heart remains a timeless gift to the world, reminding us that true light comes from within. Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson's evolution remains perhaps the most scrutinized and debated transformation in the history of global stardom. For those who grew up watching the charismatic, wide-eyed lead singer of the Jackson 5, the image of the man who became the king of pop in the 2000s was a startling departure. His journey into cosmetic surgery reportedly began in 1979 following a nose injury, but what started as a functional repair soon spiraled into a lifelong pursuit of a different self. By the 1990s, the changes were impossible to ignore. Dr. Wallace Goodstein, who worked with Michael's surgical team during that era, noted that the star was undergoing procedures with staggering frequency, sometimes as often as every few months. These included multiple rhinoplasties, cheek implants, eyelid surgery, and a distinctive chin cleft. Some experts, including Dr. E.A. Gorbis, have speculated that Michael may have undergone nearly 100 procedures over his lifetime, often driven by a deep-seated struggle with his reflection. This transformation was not merely physical, it was deeply cultural. Critics and fans alike watched as his natural features were refined into something unrecognizable, leading to intense discussions about ethnic identity and the pressures of Western beauty standards. Despite the broken porcelain doll aesthetic often described by the media, Michael's influence remained unparalleled. He broke racial barriers on MTV and redefined the music video as an art form with thriller and bad. While the world focused on the surgical scars, Michael's true legacy was his unmatched artistry. He passed away in 2009 at the age of 50, leaving behind a complex narrative of fame, identity, and the high price of perfection. Today, he is remembered not just for his changing face, but as a man who reshaped the world's cultural landscape while battling a private uphill struggle to find peace with himself. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new videos. See you in the next one.